to prove it, I'm ready to do it, I can't be afraid now. Put me on the stage now, I'm ready to rage now. I feel like an animal stuck in a cage and I'm ready to break out. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. This time, like the last time, you better get ready to race to the top. I'm ready to do this, show you what the truth is. I step on the field, it's time to get real, I'm feeling so ruthless. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Yeah. So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made up. Get in the game, your moment of fame, show them what you made of. It's time that we stand up, it's time that we man up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up. My time, nothing can keep me from reaching the top. This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to rise. I'm ready to throw down, it's time for the showdown. I'm ready to rise, don't be surprised, I'll take on the world now. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown, we know what it takes to be reaching the top. We're reaching the top, we're reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown, we know what it takes to be reaching the top. We're reaching the top, we're reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up, I'll never go back down. Hand over my heart, I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
iRacing's virtual Darlington Raceway. Welcome, sim racing fans, to round number 5 of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series, the Lady in Black 200, live on Racecraft TV. Happy that you're all along for the ride with us here on this beautiful Friday evening, wherever you're tuning in around the world. I'm your host, Joshua Lee. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Jordan Hicks, with track and car cameras created by Istvan Ballo at trackcams22.com. So Jordan, we enter a very, very tough racetrack in the Darlington Raceway. I don't think there's many tougher racetracks, not only on the drivers, but also on the tires tonight. It's going to be a story about tire wear. It's going to be a story about which drivers can handle this racetrack the best.
You know, definitely, and these turns are definitely not easy, as this track's known for too tough to tame, and so it's going to lead to an interesting race, and I'm really looking forward to it.
And coming into tonight, you can take a look at that schedule. 1 week ago, we were at the Bristol dirt track. Unfortunately, we did not have that broadcast here on Racecraft TV, but we're back here with you on August 13th, Friday the 13th as well, here at Darlington. That's going to provide some more incredible thrills. And we go to Gateway next week, Daytona Road Course, Pocono, Bristol, the asphalt version this time, Vegas, every other track down the lineup of schedule. We do not see a similar racetrack to this, Jordan. And talking about tire wear, you know, those tires wear so quickly around here. They lose seconds in less than 10 laps. It's going to be whoever can tame those tires the best and can make it through these long green flag runs of our stages.
You know, definitely, you don't really want to get caught up in that wall when you lose your tires, because it'll just completely ruin your run on how you want to do and just drop your position. So, like you said, the smartest driver's gonna win this race tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
And taking a look at the point standings as we currently enter into this round, it's Robbie Richards out in front in the number 48. A great season for him so far. Doesn't look like he'll be starting tonight's race, but he's still leading the points at Stephen Thomas, Brady LaBeouf, Joey Doucette, Jesse Schrage, your top 5, Cody Knott, Dane Hagen, Steve Williams, Devin Painter, Michael McKinnon, your top 10. We're going to have a look at our iRacing track facts, and not much else to say about the Darlington Raceway, known as Too Tough to Tame, known as the Lady in Black, known as a ton of other names because this track is just so historic. Opened in 1950, now with the Atlanta repave, set to be the oldest surface in NASCAR, and by a long mile at that. 1.366 miles, not exactly an intermediate, and this track races a lot like a short track. Turns 1 and 2 a lot longer, a lot faster than turns 3 and 4, because there was a pond that the original owner of this land wanted to stay there, so it's still there off the exit of turn number 3. They just made turns 3 and 4 tighter in the back straightaway at an angle to not disrupt that pond. And yes, that is a very true story. Continuing to work our way through qualifying here, about a minute left before we will take the grid here for tonight's race. And Jordan taking a look at these times. Familiar faces up front, Devin Painter, Dustin Scruggs, but still a handful of drivers left to take it to the track. And Raul Meza sitting on pit road, Cody Knott currently on the track in the number 26, looking to improve on his lap times.
And you can see he's trying to get around those turns, and Josh, you really have to be careful, because especially these trucks, at least from what I've raced, especially here at Darlington, you got to be careful on how you take those corners, because the trucks especially can just lose grip in the matter of seconds. And you could see he ran his best lap is a 30.6, and it seems like a not too bad of a time, but you really got to be smart here tonight.
And time quickly running out here on qualifying. We'll get ready to take a look at that starting grid for tonight's race. And getting ready for tonight, a lot of drivers talking about how tough this track really is. And it's called Too Tough to Tame because that's what it is. It is too tough to tame, and we're going to see a lot of drivers with Darlington stripes on the side of their trucks tonight. And we're going to see who can tame this racetrack the best. Time to take a look at your starting grid for tonight's race, the Lady in Black 200. Grabbing the pole, it is Dustin Scruggs in the number 11 with a fast time of a 30 point, or sorry, Devin Painter grabbing the pole. Or no, it is Dustin Scruggs that will be grabbing the pole for tonight. It is Chris Cinnamon to his outside, Joey Doucette, Stephen Thomas running out that top 4, Michael McKinnon the top 5, Jose Luis Rivera making his first start of the season tonight in P6. Down the order, we have Keith Bradley, Brandon Bullock on row 4, it's Devin Painter, Jesse Schrage rounding out that top 10. Jacob Klinschart also making his first start here tonight in 11th. Raul Meza will start from 12th. It's Eric Zimmerman, Dana Shepard, and Logan Quinn rounding out the top 15. Then we have Clint Mata, Joe Nelson, Cody Knott, and Brady LaBeouf going to be at the tail end of the field to start tonight's race, the Lady in Black 200. We'll join the drivers here on the grid, and everybody getting lined up on the front straightaway here of the Darlington Raceway. And we'll grab a look at our Racecraft TV race analysis. 147 laps on the docket for tonight. We'll have a stage break at lap 45, stage break at lap 90. Then we'll be going green flag racing all the way to lap 147 with no breaks from there. Of course, for if we get a wreck caution, we will have that, but no stage breaks in between to the end of that race from lap 90 to 147. 5 sets of tires on these trucks. One of them they will start on, so they'll have 4 extra sets sitting in the pit lane for them to swap to throughout the race. And 4 sets of tires might seem like a decent amount, but let me tell you, these drivers are going to go through a lot of them really quickly. 75% fuel also on these trucks for tonight, so they need to be smart about that fuel window as well. And the field gets rolling behind the iRacing pace truck, ready to take the green flag for 147 laps tonight. Jordan, Dustin Scruggs starting up towards the front, Chris Cinnamon to his outside, 2 very fast drivers. I'm watching Stephen Thomas there in the 23 to have a good night. Who are you watching up at the front of this field?
You know, there's a lot of quick people, and you can see at the top of the leaderboard is Devin Painter in the 64 machine, so I'm definitely rooting for him tonight.
Taking a look at that weather, 88-degree air temp, 114 track temp. That is hot, especially for this concrete track of the Darlington Raceway. 7 miles an hour winds to the west. Also going to affect these drivers as we get started. Field works their way now through turns 3 and 4, and you can see just how much tighter down in turn number 3 this corner is as the field of 19 trucks going to take the green flag. Pace truck down and away to the safety of pit lane. It is time to go green flag racing from the Lady in Black for 147 laps tonight. It's Dustin Scruggs leading him to the green. Let's go racing! Good start for Devin Painter out at the front of the field. He takes the early lead. It's Keith Bradley that sits behind him, stalking from P2, but already out in front. We're seeing these fast trucks out here. Jordan is Painter out in front, but don't count out Keith Bradley. He's still right there trying to battle for this lead.
You know, definitely, and they're running really close together as everyone just spread out within the first 2 laps, and it's crazy to think because you would think some of these drivers would get caught up in these corners because of how sharp 3 and 4 are and how quick 1 and 2 are. So you really can't focus on just one turn. You really got to be focused on both and how different each turn is.
On board there for a moment with the 18 of Keith Bradley as he works his way out of turn number 2 to the back straightaway. He's able to get close to that back bumper of the 64, just not able to get close enough to make a pass happen. That's Stephen Thomas in the 23 watching there from 3rd as they work out of turn 4. Same story for Devin Painter, still continuing to lead this way, albeit not by too much. You're on board with him now as he works his way through turns 1 and 2. A good start to the number 64 tonight. Driver out of Buena Vista, Virginia, trying to hold that lead and doing a mighty fine job of it for the moment as they work their way through turns 3 and 4 back to the front straightaway. Jordan, I think these drivers really starting to get used to these trucks, and you can see a lot of drivers, they spaced out incredibly quickly, and I think that is a little bit because a couple of drivers got into the wall on that initial start, but I do also think a lot of drivers trying to conserve their tires tonight, because that is going to be the main thing as we see Keith Bradley go for a move, tuck right back into the line with the leader.
You know, definitely the last thing you want is to have no tires on this track, and you can see how both the 18 and the 64 are working their way around the track together, along with the 23 of Stephen Thomas in the back. It's just, you really got to be careful on how much tire usage you're actually using in order to go around these turns, because, Josh, if you run out of tires, your steering wheel could be completely 90 degrees to the left, and you're not turning.
Handful of battles happening a little bit further back here. Cody Knott in the 26, currently in 6th place is Logan Quinn, Jacob Klinghart, and Chris Cinnamon back from there, but the pass for the lead was just made. Keith Bradley back up to the front in the 18. New leader is going to be that Chevrolet Silverado at the front of this field of Keith Bradley. A good start to the day for Bradley right now as he tries to fight from first now, started back in 7th, so a good run so far for Keith Bradley. Now, that 64 Devin Painter going to fall into the clutches of Stephen Thomas. We'll see if the 23 is going to be able to do anything here from 3rd. Looking for that 2nd spot on the 64 of Painter, and Painter had some good speed to start this run, Jordan, but I do think, looking at his lap times, a little bit faster that time by was Bradley, a little bit slower was Stephen Thomas, but I definitely think we're already seeing drivers roughly about 8/10 off of their initial lap times from the first lap of this race. Tires are already starting to go.
You know, definitely, and when the tires go, you really got to be careful on how you enter those turns, and you could really see it in especially the 64 and everyone else's lap times as they really try and make it around those corners. But Josh, I noticed as soon as the 18 went past the 64, the 18 just kept on going because he had so much speed going around him. So maybe he was saving his tires a little bit and then maybe went for that pass, and maybe the reason why he's so fast right now.
That could be, and tire conservation is something we talk about pretty much every track we go to, but it's especially true here at Darlington, and I definitely think we're already starting to see a little bit of that here today. Logan Quinn sitting there in the 44, trying to fight from P7 currently on the racetrack, up 8 spots from where he started in 15th. You see 3-car battle. This is spearheaded by Michael McKinnon there in the 13, and about a 3-car battle we're looking at here for the 5th spot. It's McKinnon, it's Knott, and it's Logan Quinn at the tail portion of this battle as they work their way through turns 3 and 4 back to the front straightaway. McKinnon with a good start to his day as well. Hasn't jumped or lost any positions, still sitting there in 5th. A pass made further back. It looks like an issue for Jacob Klinkarts, and it looks like that number 42 machine might have just had a trip into the Darlington wall. We're going to take a look, see exactly what happened to the 42. This is coming off of turn number 4. It looked like, oh yes, Jordan, right up into the wall, and right as he got into it, it was like a magnet. He just stayed there and then got pushed back up into the wall. No contact made with the 17, but had to keep it up out of the groove because he was very much off pace.
And you could see how much positions he lost with just hitting the wall once. He just, like you said, it's just a magnet. It just pulls you slower and slower and slower, and so you really want to try and keep your best and just try and stay off that wall, as the 18 and the 64 are doing a great job of it, followed by the 23, and great race going on so far.
Side-by-side battle off of turn number 4. That was Logan Quinn down to the bottom of Cody Knott. He is going to take that lead as they dive back into 1. It's McKinnon still leading this group in 5th. It's Logan Quinn and Cody Knott that went battling there for a moment. Now Quinn starting to really catch up to the 13 of Michael McKinnon. Quinn is on a mission for the moment. We'll see if he's going to be able to get around McKinnon for 5th. And Jordan, we're already seeing, we've been talking about tires, not to sound like a broken record, but it does sort of contribute to what we're seeing right now, which is drivers starting to drift more up the track in the middle of these corners. They're starting to get some more understeer, which is indicative of worn tires at this racetrack.
And you know, we're only 15 laps in, so they got a long way to go until they got a stage break on the left. They're feeling risky enough, as you can see, trying to make a pass on the 13. He gets it, but he's got to be careful on how well he can keep that 44 machine on the bottom as he gets a nice, clean pass. But like I was saying, these drivers got a long way to go, and unless they're feeling risky enough, Josh, green flag pit stops might be made depending on how bad it gets here tonight.
You can see that damage as well on that back bumper and on that complete right side of the 13 of Michael McKinnon. Looks like he's going to be falling into the clutches of Cody Knott, maybe into the clutches of Dana Shepard as well in that number 43. I do want to highlight that great looking 43 paint scheme on Dana Shepard. Of course, a handful of drivers tonight going for some throwback paint schemes, obviously here at the Darlington Raceway, indicative of throwback weekend. So good to see a handful of the drivers tonight giving some throwbacks to some of the sport's greatest. Of course, a throwback to Richard Petty there from Dana Shepard in the number 43 tonight. Back up to the battle for 6th here. Actually, we're going to hop back as it looks like Jesse Schrage in the 12 got into the wall. Hard contact on the right side of that race truck. We're going to see exactly what happened. Jordan, it looks like this might have been just another incident of tires starting to wear, and he blended up into the wall. Let's find out. Here's the exit of 4. No, it just looks like Jesse Schrage just pulled out of the way. Maybe the damage was from a little bit before this, but definitely uncharacteristic of the 12. He just completely pulled right down. Okay, here we go. You can see it doesn't have damage here. What exactly happened? Oh, he got into the wall going into turn number 1. Slammed it not once, but twice. It was Brandon Bullock to his inside in the 17. And that was double contact. Actually, it was Joey Doucette who was right there in the 16. And that was double contact into the wall, Jordan. Definitely not what Jesse Schrage in the 12 wanted there.
You know, definitely, and that's the thing. He completely tried to go into that turn, and the car just did not want to turn whatsoever. And so you really got to go in, at least with fairly used tires, with a little more brake as you would normally, because you just get caught up in the wall, and like we just saw, you don't want that to happen to you, because you can just lose a lot of positions.
Update on the battle for the lead. Caution flag is going to fly for the first time tonight. Looks like one car around back straightaway. Joe Nelson in the 76, and huge damage for that Chevy Silverado. Grab a look at your Racecraft TV replay. See exactly what happened here to the 76. It looked like it might have been a solo incident, but we are going to find out. Oh no, it looked like a car hit the wall in front of him, and right into the inside wall he goes. That was a hard hit to the inside wall, and that was the 42 Jacob Klinkart that he made contact with, or I should say that made contact with the wall in front of him, and what led to this incident. You're on board with the 76 of Joe Nelson now. There's the 42 into the wall, come right down in front of him, Jordan, and right into the inside wall.
And you can see how much checkup the 42 caused for the, I believe, the 76, and so, you know, definitely, especially at Darlington, you can't really check up like that because you got so many cars behind you, and you can see once again the 76, he knows that he's wrecking, and a checkup right there, and into the inner wall the 76 goes, gets up on 2 wheels, Josh. Just not what the 76 wanted here tonight.
And that is going to bring, expectedly, everybody down into the pit lane. We are exactly halfway through stage number 1. Now these drivers need to be smart. Remember, they have 4 sets of tires in the pit lane. That is very, very limited for a track such as Darlington. So they are going to need to make sure that they take care of these tires, and that they are not taking tires when they don't need to. So we're going to see who takes tires out of this group. and it looks like Keith Bradley's going for 4. Will anybody else elect to take 4 tires? It looks like one truck out quicker than the rest, and that was the number 26. There's that look to be. Believe the 23 is Stephen Thomas, but drivers stayed out. Cody Knott stayed out. Dana Shepard stayed out. Joey Doucette stayed out. Raul Meza stayed out. Jose Rivera stayed out. Devin Painter first off of pit road with a 15.2 second pit stop time. Stephen Thomas out in second. Your race leader coming in, Keith Bradley, still in the pit lane. Looks like they might be having some issues or getting damage repair, Jordan. You can see that right side of that truck completely pancaked in.
You know, definitely, and you can see he's coming out of the pit lane now. About a minute worth of a pit stop, Josh. It's a very, very long time. And like you were talking about, you can just see that right side just completely scratched with a nice Darlington stripe right on the side of that 18 machine.
So that is going to put Cody Knott to the lead of this race for the first time tonight. And not a bad run so far tonight for Cody Knott. As you can see, the lowest 18th place tonight, exactly at the back of the field. Good to see Cody Knott now up at the front of this field to continue to fight here tonight. Remember, no fast repairs for these drivers in the field, so they're going to need to make sure they can get that damage fixed without losing a lap, because they cannot get it all fixed at once. And we're going to continue to race to the end of stage number 1. Once again, that stage number 1 break is going to come at lap 40. And Jordan, we're expecting the drivers on fresh tires to really use those fresh tires, but then I think the story goes to, will they pit at the stage break? Because if they pit the stage break, they pit at the stage 2 break, and they pit one more time middle of the way through stage number 3. That will be all of their tire sets used up, and say we get a late race caution going into overtime, they won't have a set of tires that they can fall back on to change to in the pit lane. So it's a risky move for a lot of these drivers. They're essentially gonna be using all of their sets of tires to their maximum potential, but I think it might pay off because we only have 16 to go here in this stage. I don't know if those fresh tires were worth it. We could see the entire top 5 who stayed out on the racetrack be able to maybe walk away with a stage win.
You know, definitely it's going to be really interesting what these drivers exactly do, because like you were saying, those tires for the next 16 laps definitely I don't think they're going to be worth it, because you're going to have to spend a few laps warming them up, and then as soon as you get them warmed up and everything, you're going to be done in your first stage, and who knows, you might even switch out those tires. So it's just a whole strict mindset you really got to have here at Darlington, especially when stage racing is in play.
And if those drivers do stay out under this stage break, that means they're going to probably need a pit midway through stage number 2. We're going to see how those strategies play out for all the drivers in the field. But coming to the green flag, it's Cody Knott in control of the field, and he's back on the loud pedal, and we are back underway. And Joey Doucette gets slammed down to the bottom of the racetrack. The 16 way off pace. Scruggs is down there as well. Stephen Thomas goes off pace as well. Multiple drivers getting slammed down further down into the inside pit wall, and it sounds like a handful of drivers also walking away with penalties off that start. Here comes Devin Painter on fresh tires, looking for the lead already in 3. Those fresh tires are already paying off of the 64, Jordan. He's right on the back bumper of Cody Knott, looking for the lead now as they race down the front straightaway.
He's going to look to the inside, and he's gonna shoot up to the top side of that track, and he gets the lead on turn 1, and the yellow flag's back out, Josh.
Caution flag back on the racetrack. Logan Quinn in the 44 goes around. Second caution of the night, just a lap after the last one. We're gonna see what happened here. 44 of Logan Quinn involved in this one. It looked like, ooh, he got slow for a moment. Contact with Keith Bradley, and that led to him getting slammed into that outside wall. We'll go back once again on board of the 44. Oh, he just got out of the gas going into turn number 1. I don't think Bradley even suspected it. And that led to this incident. We're going to go on board now. Keith Bradley are on board with.
And you can see he's just passing drivers left and right into the rear of the 44 he goes. And Josh, that's really interesting because there's no fast repairs. So whatever they got to do to get that car out, they got to do it quick and really smart.
So that puts us under the yellow flag once again here from the virtual Darlington Raceway. Expected to go back to green here in about 2 laps. We'll take a quick break here on Racecraft TV, but don't go anywhere because when we return, it's more green flag action. The Lady in Black 200 from virtual Darlington Raceway. You're tuning in to the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series live on Racecraft TV. Stick with us. Welcome back to iRacing's virtual Darlington Raceway. Lights are out on the pace truck as we get ready to go back to racing. You're watching coverage of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series live on Racecraft TV. Joshua Lee here with you in the booth alongside Jordan Hicks, and track and car cameras for tonight's broadcast are created by Istvan Ballo at trackcams22.com. Field back double file, getting ready to light up again and get back to racing here from Darlington. And Jordan, is going to be a short 10-lap sprint to the end of this stage. We're expecting the drivers that all pitted during that last caution, actually 2 cautions ago now, into the first caution of the night, to really use up those tires and then be sort of on a different pit strategy than everybody else and pit under this next stage. But we could see some difference because Cody Knott, who stayed on that last caution, still on the outside of the front row.
And you know, definitely, I'm really looking forward to see what these drivers are doing as they're side by side right now, waiting for the initial green flag as they're just completely going. And the green flag is back out, and a great restart for the 64 of Devin Painter.
Painter gets way out in front of the field already, and around goes Knott. Cody Knott spun in the middle of the track. Shepard involved. The 17 of Bullock involved. Multiple cars around front straightaway. Keith Bradley involved as well, and the caution is back out.
And it just seems like everyone just got squirrely off that restart. We're going to take a look at the replay because that happened so quick. You can see one into the wall, and then everyone just leads into going into each other multiple times into the inner wall. Not the restart would have a big pack of drivers wanted. You can see, I'm pretty sure that, I'm not sure what the number of that car is, but completely went into the outside wall. You can see another look right here.
Looks like Raul Meza made contact with the 26. No. Did he spin his tires? He did. Completely spinning his tires. And Jordan, those are old tires. Roughly about 25 green flag laps on those tires. And he just spun them all the way down the front straightaway. And that led to him slamming into the wall right there. And that led him to hitting the wall again. Getting spun by Raul Meza. That makes contact with Dana Shepard. Makes contact with Brandon Bullock, Chris Cinnamon, and more also getting involved in this incident.
You know, definitely, and that's especially one thing you can't do with old tires, and especially in these trucks, because your truck will completely just hook either left or right from you, and you can see you just completely lost control of that NASCAR Truck Series truck, and turns out into a very bad wreck, as there's going to be a lot of damage on that car.
On board Dustin Scruggs, he was involved in this one as well. There's his damage to his car. That's Joey Doucette that just came in the 16 to his side. Michael McKinnon looks like he might have gotten a bit of damage from this one as well. Definitely not what we were looking for here, but a lot of drivers coming into the pit lane now, and one car getting a wave around, slamming the walls. He does so. That is going to be Jacob Klinkart that is making his way around from 15th. So he'll get back onto the lead lap. Logan Quinn, Joe Nelson, multiple laps down. Both of them, or Joe Nelson retired from this race. Logan Quinn is in the pit lane for repairs at the moment. Everybody else still on the racetrack. Raul Meza, the only driver out of these drivers that wrecked, and the only drivers out of the driver who did not come into the pit lane under that first caution, is still on the racetrack. He has not pitted yet this race. Still waiting to see when he is going to make his way into the pit lane. But you can see more cars coming in. Dustin Scruggs is in for service. This is his first stop of the day. Same thing with Joey Doucette. He's back into the pit lane, and a handful of others. Clint Mata also in this group coming down into the pit lane as they work their way down for service. It's Devin Painter back out in front, and Jordan Devin has been very, very quick tonight. Obviously, he has led the most laps out of anybody so far and has only gone as low as 9th. That was when he came into the pit lane. So Painter has been the truck to beat all night, and it seemed like the only person that can hold the candle is Keith Bradley, but we cannot see Keith Bradley anywhere. He's down in P number 9 with a damaged race truck. So it looks like this is Devin Painter's race to lose now.
The only thing that can mess him up right now is if he runs out of his used tires and doesn't have any sets left, because like we were talking about, if you use up too many of your tires within the stage, because we had a previous caution before this, drivers took tires, they could run out, and so that's the only way I can really think of the 64 of Devin Painter really losing this race, unless he gets wrecked out in a really, really bad wreck here at Darlington.
And I think that is possible because, I mean, look at all the trucks closer to the back. I mean, he is the only clean race truck. I mean, we have damage on this. The 94 of Eric Zimmerman. The 23 of Stephen Thomas with a ton of damage. I mean, we go to a wider shot. Pretty much every truck that you can see has damage. Clint Mata working his way through turn 1. Right side of the truck, pancaked in. Jacob Klinkart with a ton of damage to that number 42. Keith Bradley in the 18. There is your former leader. Take a look at all the damage that race truck has. We cannot really find a clean race truck except for Devin Painter. Aerodynamics don't matter too much here at Darlington, Jordan, but I do think that that is going to give him an advantage, especially over just raw speed on the racetrack.
You know, definitely, and he's just going to carry all that momentum and just slowly run away from everybody, and eventually Josh is going to be on his own, and everyone's just going to have to fight behind him because he's, like you said, the cleanest car on the track right now.
Ready to go back to racing. Track temperature dropping a handful. It was about 114 when we went green, now about 106 as we get ready to go back to racing. 5 to go here in stage number 2. As the field comes onto the front straightaway, the green flag will come up, and we are back racing here from the virtual Darlington Raceway. Field dives back into one. Devin Painter leading the way ahead of Chris Cinnamon now up into second place as they race through the middle of the corner. You can see that rear end damage to the 3 car. Doesn't look like it's affecting his truck or his handling too much. He's going to try and go fight for the lead. Stephen Thomas down to the bottom of Raul Meza in 3. And that is going to be third place now for the 23 machine as he tries to work his way further up the racetrack. But we're going to see if Devin Painter can pull away from the 3 of Chris Cinnamon. And Jordan, we haven't talked much about Cinnamon so far this race or this season for that matter, but a veteran of this series. He's been around pretty much since the start, and he is looking stout right now. He might be making a run at Devin Painter.
And you can see his lowest is 16th place, and he's making a run for P1, and he's not too far off of it. He's about, I would say, a car, maybe a car and a half behind the 64 of Devin Painter. So if Painter wants to keep this lead, he's really got to fight off the 3, because it really seems like the 3 car is really coming for that lead.
Fighting for a stage win. 2 to go in the stage at the line this time by. As they dive back into 3, you can see the 64 blend up the racetrack. Cinnamon does the same thing. It looks like Cinnamon doing a little bit too late. He was able to get on the gas just a little bit later than Devin Painter. And that gave Painter a bit of an advantage as he tries to run away now and try and hold this lead. Cinnamon there in second. 2 to go here in the stage, and the gap now about 6/10. This is now Devin Painter dominating here as he continues to pull away. And it'll be white flag here in stage number 1 this time by. Stage 1, a white flag here from virtual Darlington. Down into 1 goes Devin Painter in the 64, looking for a walk-off stage victory here. Close battle in between Raul Meza, Eric Zimmerman, the 93 and the 94 machine. Dustin Scruggs, you can see up there on the outside in the 11, currently sits 1 lap down, but coming across the line, checkered flag is out for the stage. Devin Painter is going to walk away with his first stage win of the season here in the number 64 Ford F-150. And a great win for the 64 of Devin Painter. We stay green for the moment as they head back into turn number 3. Actually, correction, stages are 45, then stage break on stage 90. So now we have 4 to go here in the stage. That is completely on me, my apologies, and we'll be having 4 more laps here in this stage. But Jordan, it's still all Devin Painter out in front. Now gap is 1.7 seconds. He has completely checked out from second place, and we can go back to the battle now for second as Chris Cinnamon loses that spot to Stephen Thomas. Now Thomas going to try and go chase down Painter.
You can see the 23 of Thomas, as lowest is 13th, and he's really making a run for what he wants is a stage 1 victory, but it just seems like the 64 of Devin Painter is so far ahead. You can see how far ahead he is. He's about halfway through turn 1, about exit of turn 2. And Josh, the 23 of Stephen Thomas, he's really trying to make a move for that stage 1 victory, but like I said, the 64 is so far ahead, I don't know if there's enough time.
1.8 seconds as they come across the line. This will be 2 to go here in stage number 1. Chris Cinnamon now going to look to maybe fall into the clutches of Michael McKinnon here. Battle for third. That 13 of McKinnon going to look for that spot on the number 3 of Cinnamon. There you can see Cinnamon with those worn tires, Jordan, going almost right up to the wall. Not too terribly worn. His last pit lap being his stint, his number of laps on these tires being about 16, but it definitely looks like either the damage or he worn up those tires trying to fight for the stage win with Devin Painter. He's now falling down the order.
You know, definitely, and you really got to be careful, especially when your tires are getting really worn out, as your car will just eventually slowly just start to ride up the track higher and higher every single lap, and you'll just turn into it and it just won't turn. That's one thing about here at Darlington is if you really want to put your car into that turn, you really got to force it and just arch it into the exit of that corner.
Off of 4, and this will be the stage victory for Devin Painter in the number 64. Caution flag flies for the stage number 1 break. It's Devin Painter in the 64 who's going to walk away with the win. We'll grab a quick break here on Racecraft TV. It's more green flag action when we return. You're tuning in to the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series live on Racecraft TV for the Lady in Black 200 from iRacing's virtual Darlington Raceway. Stick with us. Welcome back to the virtual Darlington Raceway. You're tuning into coverage of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series, Round 5 for the virtual Darlington Raceway, the Lady in Black 200. Joshua Lee back with you here in the booth. Alongside me is Jordan Hickson. Jordan, we saw a wreck-filled but a very exciting first stage, and we're now getting ready here for stage number 2, expecting a lot of the same exciting racing that we saw there in stage number 1, but a bit of an interesting development up at the front of this field. Clint Mata getting out of pit road first, so he's going to be leading the field to the green flag, and he'll be in front of Devin Painter on that front row.
I'm really interested to see how the 64 of Devin Painter actually retaliates from that, because we know he's so quick and, like we mentioned, possibly the cleanest car out on the track right now. So, Josh, I'm really thinking he's going to really try and dive down to the bottom of that track and take that lead over first lap here at Darlington when we go back racing.
And for anybody watching that's unfamiliar with the Darlington Raceway, they might be wondering exactly why these drivers are running where they are. Well, Darlington Raceway has some intense progressive banking. I mean, the apron is gigantic down on the bottom, and there's really only 2 usable lanes up at the top of the racetrack. You can see them right there, those 3 seams. Really is only 2 lanes for these trucks. You can try and go 3 wide within those seams, but it gets very, very bad very, very quickly. But running above those seams is the best option, but you can run in that 4th seam right below it, Jordan, but it's not the best idea, not only because it chews up those tires relatively quickly, it's also much slower because the banking is a lot lower on both ends of the racetrack in that 4th lane.
And you know, you definitely don't know how your car is going to react to that, and so you could completely be sideways coming out of that corner, and you just got to be careful on where you want to run. I preferably would run up at the top, but you also got that upper wall really acting like a magnet, trying to pull you closer and closer. So it's kind of a mixture of both and what you feel is right for you, but Darlington is, like they say, too tough to tame.
40 laps here in this stage, 45 laps. We did 5 of those under cautions. There'll be 40 laps here in stage number 2. We'll have the stage break on lap number 90. Clint Mata leads the fields back to green, and we are back underway. They dive into turn number 1. It's Devin Painter on the outside. Stephen Thomas watching from third, and Painter gonna power around the outside. New leader, giving it back to the 64. The 23 is Stephen Thomas, the second as well. Mata falls to third. What is Stephen Thomas gonna do as he tries to take the lead away for the first time tonight from the 64 at Painter? Back into 3, and you can see the 23 of Stephen Thomas just trying to get back to the back bumper of the 64 of Painter. Jordan, the 23 has shown some pretty good speed so far tonight, but it's just not been as good as the 64 at Devin Painter. But this is the closest he has been all night to possibly getting that lead for Stephen Thomas.
And you can see the 23 is not too far behind. It's just a matter of how well he's taking those exits on those corners, because the 64 is so fast here at Darlington. He's not going to let him by easy. And you can just see the 23 trying to dive it into the bottom. He's getting closer and closer every lap. Just the 64 is so fast.
Down the front straightaway they go. Back across the start-finish line. Painter starting to pull away once again. Battles further back as Mata gets passed by McKinnon. Keith Bradley starting to work his way back up the track. Raul Mezzo slow on the outside of the racetrack. It looks like he might have tapped the wall. He's going to lose a handful of spots now as drivers work their way around him. Look at the 16 of Joey Doucette down there on the bottom. He goes around. The 3 of Chris Cinnamon follows. Dana Shepard also in this mix as well. As Doucette goes up to 7th, trying to salvage a not stellar day. A lot of damage to the right side of that number 16. Obviously a lot more than a traditional Darlington stripe would be. And speaking of Darlington stripe, Jacob Klinkart getting back into the wall in the 42. And oops over the iRacing voice chat for him as he tries to fight back, and right back up into the wall he goes in turn 3, comes back down the racetrack, almost into Joey Doucette. He's able to keep it off of him. It'll be 2 wide now for the moment, almost 3 wide, as Cinnamon goes around. Meza will go around, and that's going to move the extremely damaged number 42 at Klinkart back into P number 9, and Dana Shepard going to go around for that 9th spot. So the 42 will fall back to 10th. But the battle continues. Joey Doucette, Chris Cinnamon here for P6. And you can see Jordan Cinnamon running that outside line. Darlington is really known for that outside line, but it seems like right now it doesn't seem like the exact place to be, specifically in turns 1 and 2, but Cinnamon just made it work through 3 and 4.
You know, especially with used tires, because you could get caught up in those walls so quickly. So it's really a risk factor if you really want to take it. And you can see the 18 of Keith Bradley trying to run that midline on the track, but it just sort of sucks you up to the top. And he's keeping a good job at keeping it down to the bottom. You can see his lowest is 16th. He's made it all the way up to 4th. A very well progressed night so far for the 18.
Remember, he started way up the order, had the lead for a little bit before that first caution, and then got caught up in, I believe, not 1 but 2 incidents out here on the track, and that pushed him down the order. Looking to get back up to the front, and you can see that heavily damaged right side to that truck, trying to salvage all he can and doing a good job of it as well, running up here in P4. Field's starting to space out slightly. Looks like we still have a little bit of a battle further back. Joey Doucette, Raul Meza as they battle for P7 here on the racetrack. Meza to the bottom, looking for that spot in turn number 1. And he is going to just about get it. No, he won't. Doucette powers around the outside. A great run for the 16. The 11 of Dustin Scruggs going to pull up to the back of this group. Scruggs is still 1 lap down, so he's not racing them for position, but he will go 3 wide into turn number 3. Scruggs makes it stick. He'll get around these drivers, but once again, he's not racing them for position. The battle for position in 7th was Doucette and Meza. and Doucette gonna keep that spot now. They're in 7th place as they'll race back into turn number 1. Closest gap on the racetrack is Jacob Klinkart versus Dana Shepard. Shepard here in the number 43, battling from 10th. As they'll race back down the back straightaway. Jordan, we haven't talked much about Dana Shepard here tonight, but albeit a good night for him so far. Positive on the day as he started back in 14th, so he's gained 4 spots right as of right now as he runs in 10th. And talking about him throughout the season, consistent finishes for Dana Shepard in the first handful of races, just looking for more out here on the track.
And definitely here at Darlington, he's making it work and he's making it stick throughout every single turn. And Josh, we're only at stage number 2, and I won't be surprised if we see him make it up even higher into the top of that pack. And you can see his best lap is a 30.4, pretty fast here at Darlington. But he's got a long way to go if he really wants to make it to the end of that finish line and maybe even the top 5.
5th fastest time on the track, and only about 0.2 slower than the fastest time, which is set by, well, yeah, if you guessed Devin Painter, you would be correct. Devin Painter currently holds the lead of this race and the fastest lap of the race at a 30.283. But taking a look at this battle for the lead, not much has changed. It has lowered just slightly as Stephen Thomas continues to try and get up to the lead, but Jordan, it's a 7.5 tenths gap right now. A lot of positive gains need to be made by Stephen Thomas, and he's trying to do it, but as these tires wear, it just becomes increasingly difficult to get any sort of advantage on that car in front of you to try and make a pass.
And definitely really got to rely on your car if you really want to go for that lead. And you can see how hard he's really trying to get closer and closer to the 64, but like you said, the tires are not helping him at all, and it's just going to keep on getting harder and harder every single turn. And he's still got a little bit to go to the stage break to maybe pull out a stage win, but the 64 is so fast, I don't really think that's going to happen, but you never know what could happen here at Darlington.
We'll see what he can do out here on the track and if he's able to get a stage win. Still hanging about 8 tenths back from your current race leader. Raul Meza back up to the back bumper of Joey Doucette as they race through the corner. Meza into the wall. That is not what Meza needed. He taps the wall, just gives it a little kiss to the lady in black, and that'll make some more damage there on the right side of that race truck, but did not go spinning, not a ton of damage either, so we stay green and he's able to stay on the racetrack in P8. But he will lose out to that battle with Joey Doucette. Closest gap on the racetrack now is Cinnamon versus Doucette as they race into turn number 3. Chris Cinnamon racing from 6. Doucette wanting that spot here in the 16, and you can even throw in, really, in the battle for 6. You can throw Meza into the mix as well as he is within 4 tenths of the car in front of him. Through turns 1 and 2 onto the back straightaway. Jordan, you can hear him getting off of the gas coming off of turn number 2, and you can hear that across the Truck Series, the Xfinity Series, and the NASCAR Cup Series, where they kind of treat these corners as 4 independent corners. They treat turn 1 differently than turn 2. They'll treat turn 3 differently than turn 4, where if you hear, we'll stay on board with Chris Cinnamon as he works his way through the corner. You can hear him get back on the gas through the middle, but to make the apex and make the exit of turn 2, gets back off the gas and back onto it, just so he doesn't hit the wall coming off of these corners. That's just how unique this racetrack is.
And it's just like arching your car, so it's a really smart way to do it, is so you can hear him getting off of the gas, on and off, and it seems like he's timing those corners really well. He's getting nice and close to the wall, and he's having a nice run on the outside line. You can see going into 1 and 2 right here, he lets off a little bit, about halfway on the throttle there, and then he's going to let off a little bit right here to arch his car down and flying down the backstretch as he goes.
Cinnamon's still going to fight from P6 currently, as Cinnamon tries to work his way back up through the track. Joey Doucette still in the battle with Raul Meza, as Meza, even after tapping that wall, is caught back up to, Meza is caught back up to Joey Doucette, and they've worked their way back through turns 1 and 2. Jordan Doucette's been having a relatively up and down night. Hasn't been the best night by any means, but you can see he was up in third for a moment, and by starting in 18th, now up into P7. A good night so far for him, and just looking for even more positive movement on this racetrack. He started up in third, so he's down a handful of spots, but still looking for a bit of an improvement on the day, and the Oakland main driver certainly doing that as he's holding on to 7th place.
And you can see all the damage on the right side of that 16 machine. It definitely does not help whatsoever, but he's making a good run for it as he's got someone behind him, and he's really holding them off really well. He's, like you said, he's currently 7th right now. Not too bad of a job as of right now, but if he really wants to make it up high, he's got some time, and he's got some time to really just sit back, really nail his corners, and make it work and try and get up higher in the lead.
Fighting back into turn number 1. Gap not changing too much between Doucette and Meza as they run through turns 1 and 2. They'll go back to the back straightaway. Leader Devin Painter crosses the line. We'll check back in with him as he works his way through turns 1 and 2. It'll be 20 to go here in the stage 1 car. Down on the bottom of the racetrack, it looks like he just tapped the wall. He'll continue to race on the racetrack. I believe it was the 94 of Eric Zimmerman as Devin Painter continues to put a handful of damaged race trucks 1 lap down. As now the next one is Jesse Schrage there in the 12 to put another driver a lap down. And once he does, that'll mean 9 trucks will stay on the lead lap. Right along to the outside goes the 64. Next target, Dana Shepard for Devin Painter to put multiple cars down a lap down. Then I'll keep the top 8 on the lead lap here from virtual Darlington. Still Painter out in front. Still Thomas in second. Still McKinnon in third. Gap between Meza and Doucette. Well, now it's flipped the opposite way. Meza able to make the move on Doucette. So that moves him up into P7. And Doucette now down into P8 on the racetrack. Everybody else starting to spread out here from the virtual Darlington Raceway. Bit of a close battle now between Jesse Schrage, Jacob Klinkart. These guys are currently within about 10th of each other now. Is the 42 going to make a look to the bottom? Jesse Schrage in the 12 going to cover off that spot going down into turn number 1. And Jordan, Jesse Schrage been another one of these drivers we haven't talked about much and got involved in an incident, of course, earlier that we covered, so definitely not the best day for him, but trying to salvage all he can now as Klinkart goes down to the bottom to look for that spot, and he's going to take it.
You can see it just seems like he got stuck a little bit up to the top, which is definitely nerve-wracking when you're up at that top because you never know when that car is just going to completely start to head right into the wall, I'll say. And because these tires they're getting used so much to a point where it's going to start affecting these. It's been affecting these drivers, but it's just going to start getting worse lap after lap, and these drivers are going to have to keep turning more and more and using a lot more brake to finish out their turn and successfully get out of it.
I think it's a great point you're making, Jordan, because when we talked about the first stage as we joined a battle between Keith Bradley and Clint Mata out here on the track, stage number 1 we had, I believe, 3 cautions there. Now we are looking at as of now, caution-free stage 2 with most of these drivers, I believe actually all these drivers, last pitting under that stage break, which means they are now pretty much everybody in this field on 28 lap old tires, nearing 30 lap old tires. So they are really starting to feel the effects of this tire wear that I think it is going to affect some of these battles like the one we're seeing right now. Looks like Mata might have saved a little bit more tire than Keith Bradley, has a little bit more of an advantage over the 18 as they dive back into 3.
And that's the way you're going to be fast, is the amount of time you save on your tires. And the more you save, the more chances you're going to have to actually pass each other and be really, really quick. And so that's a key factor, especially here at Darlington. You want to save your tires, and the more you do it, the more chances you're going to have to actually successfully pass somebody.
Back on the back straight away, and Mata gets into the wall. We talk about how close that wall is, and off of turn 2 and off of turn 4, Jordan, especially, that is where just that wall just sort of sneaks out on you, and it's where we see everybody really hitting the wall. If it's not in the middle of the corner, it's on exit of turn number 2 or exit of turn 4. It's just becomes so easy when you're on that gas trying to gain as much time as you can, and then the tires just give you too much understeer and you go flat out into the turn 2 or turn 4 wall.
You know, definitely, I was just about to say, it seems like the wall just completely sticks out. You want to full throttle it, but that wall comes up so quick. Like you said, you got to have a very, very fast reaction if you're going to full throttle it, especially out of turn 4 and out of turn 2. And so you really got to be ready for that wall, because you never know when it's going to actually catch you and really ruin your race.
Bradley trying to defend over Clint Mata. You're still watching in on the battle for 4th. No update on it yet. A little bit of a battle from now between Chris Cinnamon, Clint Mata, and Keith Bradley. Is Cinnamon able to catch this group? So that'll mean we have a 3-car battle now for this 4th spot on the racetrack, as they will fight off of the corner to the front straightaway. Next time, the leader, Devin Painter, will come across the line. We're going to look at 10 to go here in stage number 2 from the virtual Darlington. Mata still looking on that back bumper of Keith Bradley, and Bradley's going to get loose off 2. He makes contact with Mata. They make their way back onto the racetrack. They don't hit that inside wall, but that was a close one as they raced off of turn 2.
A great save, as we just saw there, because they both just completely got sideways, Josh. And we're going to take a look at the replay. You can see the 7 having a very, very quick run on the right behind the 18, I believe. And you can see that the 18 gets a little squirrely, makes contact with the 7, and they both save it. And Josh, they were only a few feet from smacking that inside wall. A great save for both drivers here tonight.
On board with Keith Bradley, the one grabbing on board with Clint Mata. I don't think they even made any contact, Jordan. They just got loose on their own, and both of them trying to chase it down the racetrack, and that led to the contact. You're on board with Clint Mata now. Yeah, no contact. The 18 got loose trying to chase it, got into Clint Mata, and that's what led to that. Luckily, neither of them getting any damage. Luckily, neither of them going down into that inside wall. We stay green. Devin Painter continues to lead this race as we just have a handful of laps to go before that stage 2 break on lap number 90. But man, what a save between those two drivers, and that has severely broken up this battle. Mata now about 5/10 back from Chris Cinnamon. This is the closest battle on the racetrack currently. Actually, the closest battle now back to Raul Meza versus Joey Doucette. Jordan, we're right back to this one. Second verse might be the same as the first if Doucette can get around Meza.
And it seems like the 16 has been having some pretty good luck trying to pass people as he's running that lower mid line. You can see Meza goes up to the top of the track, and it's just opening the door for the 16 to come and pass him. Josh, I really think we're going to see a pass here in turn 1 and 2.
We will see. It's within 2/10. They go down into 1. Meza goes up the racetrack, and Doucette keep it a little bit lower to the apron. No, he cannot. They both run just about the same line, both having to get way out of the gas coming off of turn number 2. They'll continue to fight down the back straightaway. What will Meza be able to do? Can he hold on to this spot? Oh, Meza gonna go up and almost tap the wall again. I believe he did make contact with that wall once again. They race down the front straightaway. Can Doucette make the move now? Meza racing from P7, Doucette racing from P8. They work their way through turns 1 and 2 once again. Meza hoping to hold on to this 7th spot, but here comes Doucette. He's to the inside looking for the spot. Into 3, they stay side by side. Doucette really trying to work that bottom line. Which one is going to prevail on the exit of the corner? They'll stay side by side as they race across the line. It's going to be Meza that's going to be able to hold on. Jordan, it looks like with these worn tires, that bottom line is not going to work. You need more tires to run down there. These trucks just want to go right up to the wall, understeer right up to that wall, and just ride it all the way around this racetrack. It looks like that multi-groove is going to need to come back into play once we get some fresh rubber on these trucks.
Yeah, definitely. It just completely gets rid of every single piece of rubber on your tires, and so you really got to be careful because it's just getting slower and slower, which led to the 16 not being able to pass Meza, and it just seems like he powered through to the outside. And as scary as it is, Josh, the outside line is the one to stick with tonight, as you've really got to be careful running it because that wall is going to stick out and it might even catch you. But it seemed like Meza did a really good job of showing that he could really stick to that outside wall and keep it nice and clean on the exit.
So Meza will keep P7. Doucette now falling back a little bit here in P8. This remains the closest battle on the racetrack. Devin Painter will come across the line. 2 laps to go here in stage number 2. It ends on lap number 90. We haven't talked much about that 97 tonight. Jose Luis Rivera making his series debut here tonight in the number 97, Chicago, Illinois driver. Highest up 5th today, currently running here in 14th. Not the best middle portion of this race, Jordan, but definitely somewhat of a good showing for the driver making his first start, as Painter will take the white flag here in the stage.
You know, definitely, and it's a lot of pressure going in right in front of the fastest car on the track, 64 of Devin Painter. You're just itching to want to stay ahead of him, but if I was me on my first league, on the first day and everything, I would just like to try and keep it nice and clean and just have a nice little common race for myself and get really into the race. But you can see how fast the 64 of Devin Painter is going right now. And Josh, I believe it's about a 2.4 second gap between both the 64 and the 23 is on the track right now. And it seems like the 64 of Devin Painter is going to take the stage 2 win here at Darlington.
A great stage 2 win for Devin Painter in the 64. He will go 2 for 2 in stage wins tonight. So the 64 of Devin Painter is 2 for 2 on the night. We'll take a break here on Racecraft TV. When we come back, it is stage 3 action here from the virtual Darlington Raceway. So don't go anywhere. You're tuning into coverage of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series live on Racecraft TV. It's the Lady in Black 200 from virtual Darlington. welcome back to coverage of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series live on Racecraft TV. It's Joshua Elias, Jordan Nix back with you here in the booth, and all of our cameras created by Istvan Ballo at trackcams22.com that we are using for today's broadcast. Pace truck down and away. Stage 3 is ready to go, and we're going to take you to the sights and sounds of the Darlington Raceway. It's Racecraft TV, sounds of speed from the Lady in Black. Yellow flag is out on the racetrack, and Joey Doucette is around in turn 3. We'll see what happened here, Jordan. First caution of stage number 3. Oh, contact with Keith Bradley and sent him right into the wall.
And you can see the car just completely got stuck in the wall, completely throwing that 16 machine. You can see the 18 is coming from behind with a crazy run, trying to drop all the way to the bottom, and he just makes contact with that 17 and into the wall goes the 16 and the 18, and up on top of the lid goes the 16.
So that brings out the first caution here of stage number 3. We'll go on board with Doucette. Bradley goes to the inside of Bullock and right in front of him, and yeah, nothing Doucette could have done about that one. And luckily ended up back on all 4 Goodyear tires, but that was going to be a trip down into the pit lane, and unfortunately probably night over for Joey Doucette. Of course, no fast repairs here in the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. So that puts us back under the yellow flag and nearing the ends of the first 100 laps. And getting ready for the remainder of this race. 49 to go. We're going to have 48 to go when they come across the line this time by. So Jordan, time running out for these drivers, and it's still, you know, a full stage worth of action. We had 45 lap stages, so it's not too much longer than the normal stages we're used to, where, you know, stage 1 and 2 usually is about half of the race, and then stage 3 is the last half. This is the first 2 stages were over halfway, and now we're going to be racing pretty much just another stage length to the end of this race. So these drivers pretty much already know how the tires work, and with this caution, I think especially, we might see drivers not pit at all to finish out this race, and maybe these drivers who pitted a little bit earlier saved a set of tires that they can then use later on in the race. But it looks like a lot of drivers have already used up those 4 tires. Only one I'm seeing that did not is Devin Painter. He and Raul Meza look to be the only 2 drivers on the track. Actually, add Eric Zimmerman to that list with 3 pit stops instead of 4.
And you know, definitely, this is where it all comes down to line, because all the drivers are going to race harder and harder, and everyone just wants to go for that win, but they got a lot of laps to go. 48 to go, or about 47 or 46 when we go back green. And so that's a pretty long run. That's a whole nother stage, Josh. And so these drivers can't gun it from the starter. They may wreck themselves out if they completely just spin the tires on the restart, but it all depends on how those tires work for them and get them around the track.
And talking about the tire wear, I think just mentioning it again, because everybody in this field, especially up front, mainly counting this top 5, all last pitted under this last stage 2 break. We've only ran about 1.5 laps under green. I believe the leader might have gotten around for 2 laps, so we'll just say 2 laps under green. add that to the looks like 46 laps they're going to run to the end. That'll be 48 laps versus about 40 that I think they ran in stage number 2. So 8 more laps on the tires doesn't sound like a lot, but here at Darlington, that could mean the difference between the car being a little bit more snug in the middle, having a little bit of understeer, to being borderline undrivable on the exit of the corners. I've had it happen to me here at Darlington, and it is very surprising when the tires just sort of fall off that cliff.
And you can really sort of tell when that happens, because you can run a perfect lap this one time, and then coming around the next time, you can't turn at all. And you also can't count out that damage on a lot of those cars, because that is a key factor in how fast these cars can actually go. So I'm interested to see how these drivers get around this track for the next 46 laps to go on this track at Darlington.
So we'll be going green for 46 to go. And itching to get back going. You can see Michael McKinnon out at the front of this field. First time he's leading tonight. Looking to stay in front of Devin Painter. Painter will be starting on the inside of the second row there in third. Watch that 64 as we go back to racing. He is quick, he is fast, and he is looking to get back to the lead. We're back underway here in stage number 3. Stephen Thomas all over the back bumper of the 13 of McKinnon, but he spins the tires down the front straightaway. The 13 gonna fight from second. Painter in third as they race through 1. Getting to the back bumper of the 13 of Michael McKinnon is Stephen Thomas. Off of turn 2 they go. Thomas gonna look for the lead. You're on board with the 23. He'll fight for the lead in turn 3 from Michael McKinnon. He almost gets into him. Very tight as they work their way through turn 4. Off of the corner they go, and you can see Jordan 2/10 separating these drivers. Thomas trying to get to the back bumper of Michael McKinnon. He just cannot get close enough. Here they go through the middle of turn number 1. Thomas is gaining ground.
He's gonna. I'm curious to see on what he tries to do. Is he might shoot it down to the bottom, or maybe run up to the top, because it seems like the top line has been the fastest thing as of right now. And you can see the 23 trying to make something work, but he's also got the 64 of Devin Painter right behind, so a lot of pressure on the 23 as of right now.
They fight into turn number 1 once again. This is now a 3-car battle at the front of this field, and you can see why. Off of the corner they go. I'd even add 4 or 5 cars in this fight, because you can see all of them separated by 1 second right now on the racetrack. We'll take a wide shot from the spotter cam. I mean, you can see the 13 is in this fight. The 23, the 64, the 3. You can go back to the 7 of Clint Mata. The top 5 now within 1 second of each other as they race into turn number 1. Some great racing at Darlington tonight. 43 to go. McKinnon holds the lead, albeit not by much. Here comes Thomas. Here comes Painter. I think I'm surprised, Jordan, to really see Devin Painter running here in third. I'm wondering if he might be buying his time, because he undoubtedly knows by now he's the fastest truck on this racetrack. It looks like he might just be buying time, maybe waiting for a mistake from Thomas, maybe waiting for a mistake from McKinnon to then pounce and take this lead back. Doesn't seem like he wants to force the issue yet, in fear of getting wrecked out.
And you know, he could also be saving those tires, because
good point.
I don't really know for sure if he actually has another set in pit lane, so if anything, this is the smartest move he could play right now, and just wait lap after lap to see what both the 23 and the 13 do. If they mess up, or if anything happens to them, the 64 Painter can just run right on by and run off with the lead.
So 3 pit stops on the night for the 64 Devin Painter. You can see on our timing tower, you can see everybody's pit stop numbers. Meza and Painter are the only drivers that we can guarantee still have a set left in the pit lane. They had 4 sets in the pit lane when we took the green flag for this race. If they pitted 4 times, they might not have taken tires on one of those pit stops, but undoubtedly they cannot use 4 sets of tires without pitting 4 times. So we know Painter and Meza both have a set left down in the pit lane. Logan Quinn's been out of this race, so ignore that 3, ignore the 0 from Nelson and LaBeouf. They've been out of this race. But undoubtedly you can know that Painter and Meza still have a set left. We don't know about McKinnon and Stephen Thomas, so they need to be especially careful over those tires. They might have a set left in the pit lane, Jordan, but if they don't, they need to run this set to the checkered flag. They have no choice.
And definitely, they got a lot of fierce competitors right behind them. There's the 64 painter is just sitting, waiting for one of them just to mess up, and I'm pretty sure, Josh, they know that. And so they're trying to run the most perfect laps they possibly can because, like I said this previously, the 64 painter is just waiting and waiting until something happens. You can see how much he's like turning the wheels. He's barely turning it, and so you can see he's just waiting for anything to happen, and you can see everyone's all spread out fairly apart, about, I would say, a car, maybe a car and a half in between all of them, but they're all running some pretty good laps. It just depends on when someone messes up to let the 64 painter go by.
You can see McKinnon and Thomas continuing to battle here at the front of this field. Thomas still within that 2/10. But you can see as the tires continue to work their way through the wear stages, you can see the difference in speed starting to happen. Already up into the low 31s is pretty much everybody in this field, so it doesn't look like anybody's much better on tires than anybody else. Painter still looking like he's saving those tires, so he's going to be running similar lap times, just trying to save them. We'll see if he starts gaining speed in a handful of laps, but with 37 to go, Jordan, with everybody spacing out like they are, the closest battle we currently have is this battle for the lead. Most of this field currently spaced out. We might not see another yellow flag until the checkered flag of this race.
And it'll help a lot of people because the 13 of McKinnon right now is having a great run on the 23 of Thomas, and if we get a caution, it's going to just bunch him back up, and there's a chance he may lose that lead. So as of right now, it's a great call for no caution, and he just gets to cruise up in P1 right now.
Small battle further back. It looks like Keith Bradley and Dustin Scruggs battling here. And Keith Bradley asking if Dustin is down on horsepower. He doesn't think he is. But we're taking a look at this battle now. They exit turn 4. Bradley was a little bit closer. They entered turn number 3, and it looked like he fell off just a handful as it's down to now 7/10, now 8/10. They work their way through the middle of the corner. You're on board the 11 of Dustin Scruggs as he exits turn 2. Scruggs going to keep P7 for the moment. They dive back into turn 3. Another close battle. Clinton Mata, Chris Cinnamon currently battling. You're on board with Mata as he enters turn number 1. Ooh, and off the corner, Jordan, you can see him had to get way out of the gas, maybe even on the brakes coming off of turn number 2. Here comes Cinnamon now. That was the mistake the 3 car needed to get up to the back bumper of the 7.
And now all he needs to do is just keep up with him and go for that pass. You can see he's up into the wall, as that's going to slow him down a lot. As you can see, he's gaining. He's just losing time. It's about 3/10 right now, but he's trying to gain that time back, but not what the 3 wanted, as he was having a great run coming out of that turn. As he's trying to make it work again, he's side by side right now, and he's bumper to bumper. A nice pass for the 3 right there, and I'm curious to know when he's going to make this pass on the 7.
That pass was over a lapped car. That was the 94 of Eric Zimmerman, 4 laps down, P12. Right back to the back bumper of Mata. This is for position. This is for 4th on the racetrack. Cinnamon battling into 1. You're on board with him now as he works his way through the corner. You can hear him getting way off of the throttle in turn 2. Tires already starting to wear. They need to get out of the throttle in that corner. Into turn 3 they go. Cinnamon was able to get close with a slight mistake from Mata, but now that the 7 car is looking a little bit better, Jordan, it looks like he's starting to pull away. I think he's going to need a mistake from this 7 if he wants to take over this spot.
Definitely, and like you mentioned, those tires they're going to keep on getting worse and worse, so he's really just got to cruise there and hope for the 7 to do something wrong and have that opportunity to make a pass for that position.
Still the closest battle on the racetrack is this one as we currently watch it. 4/10 currently separating these two. Was down to 3 at one point here in the battle for 4th. Mata now starting to pull away, just a handful more. 30 to go on the racetrack as Michael McKinnon continues to lead the way. Devin Painter, the dominant race truck all day, sits in third. Jordan, I think if he waits too long, it might end up being too little too late for the 64. Because while he's running in third, if he lets the 13 and the 23 run away too far while he's conserving tires, he might not have enough time when he starts lighting that wick to gain a little bit more speed. Then he might lose touch with those trucks, not find him at all until the end of the race.
And you know, no, definitely he's, like you said, he's not got a lot of time. He's got about 28, 27 laps to go. So if I was him, I would definitely try and make a move to get up and close with them, to at least have a chance for, if he really needs to make a move, he's up there and ready to do it at any time and anywhere on the track.
They run back into turn number 3. Sorry, turn number 1 for Devin Painter in the 64. You can see him blend right up to that outside line. Dive back in, arch turn 2, exit the corner. A perfect line for the 64 of Devin Painter. Problem for Michael McKinnon. He's way off the pace, down at the bottom of the racetrack. What happened for the 13 of Michael McKinnon here, Jordan?
Curious to know, because it seemed like he may have gotten loose off of turn number 2, as it looked like he was dived down to the bottom. You can see he's running that outside line. You can see the 23 behind him. He gets down to the bottom and into the wall he goes. And that's where our points come out, Josh, that wall of turn 2 just comes out of nowhere, and that's what got him, and it's going to take him out of first place. So a big mistake for the 13 of Michael McKinnon.
The most dominating performance McKinnon has had all season long. His best opportunity for a win ended right there. Tapped to the wall in 2 and slammed into the inside wall as well. So unfortunate for Michael McKinnon. He was having a great day here from virtual Darlington, and that is going to lead him into the pit lane now. 26 to go. However, your new leader is the 23 of Stephen Thomas. How quickly is Devin Painter going to be able now to close that gap? Because that gap is roughly about 1.7 seconds out here on the track. There's Devin Painter. And we'll grab the gap to your race leader. You can see it up on our timing tower, about 1.8 seconds. And just trying to now just fight to get up there. They have a lap machine in between them, as they'll continue to try and fight. Jordan, we're seeing now Painter might have a little bit of a better opportunity. He's getting held up by this lap machine, though. That's definitely not going to help him. But the gap's starting to close, albeit not as quickly as I think Painter wants it to. But with 24 to go, he just needs subtle gains, and he might be able to walk away with this race win.
And it's crazy to think, because we saw him running such fast lap times previously in this race, because he took the stage 1 and 2 victory. I would at least think he's running on the bumper, but I'm curious to know if he's really saving tires at this point, Josh, or maybe he's got something wrong with the car, but he doesn't have a lot of time if it's just tires, because anything can happen, you never know, and he's just got to get back up into pace and get on his good side of his brain right now and get right up to the bumper of the 23 to make a pass if he really, really, really wants that race win.
And that time, like you mentioned, is running out, but it's not running out super quickly. I mean, we still have 23 to go. Just taking a look at our timing screens, it's starting to close in, albeit not that quickly. Up to 2.5 seconds now, that gap, and he was closing in. Now it looks like it's starting to be a little bit more stagnant, which is not what Painter wants. And it looks like Jordan's losing time through the middle of these corners, which is not going to help him. That is kind of telling me that he seems to be having some tire wear issues. He needs to try and make up as much time as he can. It's down to 2 seconds, but that's still 2 seconds more than it really needs to be.
And that's the thing you really need to focus on, is your turns, because those are key factors here at Darlington. You really got to nail them if you want to be so fast on this track. And you can see the 23 of Stephen Thomas just running that outside line and completely having really clean exits and entrances to the turns, as the 64 of Painter's not doing so, as he seems to be a little messed up. Maybe the pressure's getting on him, Josh, that we're coming down to the final part of this race, and he maybe wants that win, but I think it's just getting to him, and he's really got to focus in on this race and get those turns and exits right.
2.1 seconds, the current gap for the lead, and that is the current closest gap on the racetrack. So we'll continue to bring you updates throughout the field with these drivers. Stephen Thomas out in front currently right now. A good day for him. Started back in P number 5, so a 4-position gain for Stephen Thomas. So a good day for this 23, and he's gonna get split in the middle with these lap cars. That could have spelled danger for him, Jordan. He got pinched by, I believe, that looked like the 94 of Eric Zimmerman and the 43 of Dana Shepard, who he's still trying to work his way around a tap to the wall in 2.
It's definitely going to make up some opening doors for the 64 of Painter, but he's still about 1.5 seconds back, so he's really got to make up that move, as that's one mistake he got. He's just got to be up there close enough to actually fight for that lead if he makes another mistake.
The 23 of Stephen Thomas, not happy with Dana Shepard, not happy with Eric Zimmerman. He gets around Shepard now. Like you mentioned, Jordan, Devin Painter was waiting for a mistake. That was it right there. I don't think it was exactly on Stephen Thomas's part. It was him getting held up by lap machines. Nothing he could control there. So Painter now, he's within 1 second, trying to catch up. He's got to navigate his way around Dana Shepard now to get over into range of the leader, Stephen Thomas. A pass for second made. Scruggs is going to go around Mata for third. Scruggs will race back onto the front straightaway now in third. Mata falls to fourth. Looks like Mata might be way off the pace. He might have gotten into the wall. But the battle for the lead starting to grow again. Painter now had to deal with the lap machine of Dana Shepard in the 43. He's gonna go way up the track. Almost into the wall goes Painter. Jordan, it looked like that he got help from those lap machines when they're holding up Stephen Thomas. It doesn't help him when he's the one getting held up there in second.
You know, definitely that's what he does not want to, especially when he's about a second, but he's now about 1.6 seconds back, so that definitely didn't help him at all to what he wanted. So he's really got to make up some time now, because what problems are happening to the 23 are just happening on the 64 of Devin Painter.
Back up to the lead. Stephen Thomas goes around another lap machine. That looked to be the 13 of Michael McKinnon. Top 6 currently on the racetrack are on the lead lap. Everybody else 1 or more laps down. 15 to go here from virtual Darlington. Stephen Thomas trying to walk away with this race win. It's Painter behind him. It's Dustin Scruggs. It's Clint Mata. It's Raul Meza, your current top 5 out here on the racetrack. Keith Bradley rounds out those drivers who are currently on the lead lap. And Bradley not that close to getting put a lap down, but as he works his way through turns 1 and 2, now working his way through turns 1 and 2 is Stephen Thomas in the 23. We'll talk about Keith Bradley, Jordan. He was leading towards the end, towards the middle, I should say, of stage number 1, and started up in third, now running in 6th, the heavily damaged number 18, but he was down way more down the order earlier on in this race. So good to see the 18 of Keith Bradley at least fighting up here in 6th.
You know, definitely, as we saw him have a huge crash previously on in this race, and so a great comeback for him as he's, like you said, running in 6th position, and maybe to come up into the top 5 would be a great finish for the 18, especially with 13 to go here at Darlington.
He works to the back straightaway. Still in the lead, Stephen Thomas here in the number 23. There's that gap with Devin Painter, 2.7 seconds. It looks like, as of right now, Stephen Thomas is the best of the field. The question is, can he hold on to it? That is going to be the main question, Jordan, because Stephen Thomas, even like looking back in the history of this series, he has been one of the dominant drivers in this series. And Rhett Tucker Racing as well, the team he runs for, has been dominant as well. We haven't seen much of Rhett Tucker this season, but we've seen all of Stephen Thomas, and that number 23 machine has been fast and has been in contention for race wins every single round of this campaign.
You know, definitely, and he's definitely making a name for himself. Even though he's one of the fastest, he's really showing it here tonight at Darlington, and it'd be a great comeback as if he came with a race win after we not really saw him too much earlier on in this race, and just walk away with a nice win for his team and the 23 machine of Stephen Thomas. Oh, Josh, and it seems like he's coming down into pit lane, maybe definitely getting a fresh set of tires, as this is really going to change things up for Devin Painter. And I'm curious to see how the 23 actually comes back from this.
We haven't talked much about fuel tonight. We're hearing multiple drivers coming in. This could be drivers maybe running out of fuel or not having enough to make it. We mentioned how stage number 3 was a little bit longer than the first 2 stages. That could mean that in the first 2 stages, these drivers were barely making it on fuel. Here in this stage, they don't have enough to make it. So Thomas is in. Devin Painter also staying out on the racetrack currently. Actually, he pitted before everybody. He was the first one to pit, making an undercut. We didn't notice it on the timing screen. So Painter was the first one to pit. He will get by Stephen Thomas. This could be the strategy from Devin Painter, and the 64 could walk away with the win, depending on how and when the next drivers come into the pit lane. Scruggs gets around Stephen Thomas. He'll put Thomas 1 lap down. Scruggs is going to need to pit soon. Here's the difference. It was a 2-tire stop from Devin Painter, 4 tires for Stephen Thomas. How is this going to affect the race for the win? It's 9 to go. Is Scruggs going to try to go all the way to the end of this race on this tank of fuel? The current top 5 has not pitted under this stage. Jordan, I'm not sure if they can make it to the end on fuel, but it has to be a tight one. But I gotta think at least one driver out of this top 5 is gonna try it. Scruggs, Meza, Bradley, Mata, and Cinnamon. I think out of one of them, somebody's gonna try and make it. The question is, will they have enough to come across the line on fumes?
You know, and it's definitely a really risky move for these drivers to do that, especially with 7 to go, 6 at the line. And like I said, it's really risky, and especially when you're leading this race. And I'm not too sure when the 11 might come in, as it's unfortunately going to cost him the lead. But, you know, you really want to finish that race with at least some sort of fuel. And the 11 may be starting to save some fuel, Josh, that maybe why it looks like he's going a little slower than everybody else. But that could just be me, and I'm not too sure, as this could be a strategy from the 11.
We are going to find out if Dustin Scruggs is going to be able to limp home under a fuel strategy and take the win. Mata can't make it. The 7 is in. I don't think that's going to give a lot of confidence to Dustin Scruggs, nor will it give confidence to Meza, Bradley, or Cinnamon, the other 4 trying this strategy. The battle that I'm looking at is Devin Painter versus Stephen Thomas. It's 2 seconds. Painter took 2 tires under his stop. Stephen Thomas took 4. They're within 2 seconds of each other now. 5 to go at the line as Scruggs comes across. If Thomas passes Devin Painter and Scruggs, Meza, Bradley, and Cinnamon all have to pit, that means that it'll be a race win for Stephen Thomas. But Painter now, he gets by Cinnamon. He needs to either make on-track passes in 5 laps, make up 19.5 seconds to Dustin Scruggs, or pray that these lead trucks need to pit. Working his way through turns 1 and 2, Dustin Scruggs with 4 to go. Jordan, do you think he can make it to the end on this strategy? I think it's a little bit far-fetched, but who knows? Because Bradley has not pitted. Meza has to pit. Bradley is still staying on the racetrack. So is Scruggs. But Painter's up into second. It's an 18.5 second gap.
You know, if he really wants to make it work, he's got to make it work really quick. And he's got to save a lot of fuel enough to actually cross that finish line. But like you said, the 64 of Painter is coming up really, really quick. Yes, he's not, it says 19.7 seconds back, but with the amount of time we have left, Josh, I really think that the 64 of Devin Painter is going to be able to pull this off and get it just by, maybe by lap 1 and take home that race win.
You can see the gap for that lead up on the top of your screen on our timing tower. 2 laps to go for Dustin Scruggs. He tried to get as much slipstream, as much draft from the 43 of Dana Shepard as possible to save as much fuel. 16.5 seconds. Steven Thomas able to get by Devin Painter as well. So the 4 tires worked for Thomas. He's up into P2. Does he have enough? Does Scruggs have enough to get across the line on the checkered flag and take this win? He's not coming into the pit lane. He's going for the race win. The white flag is out. One final lap around Darlington for Dustin Scruggs. Can he make it all the way through stage 3 on a single tank of fuel? Everybody else has pitted. He's down on the apron. He's trying to save as much fuel as possible. 12.5 seconds. Steven Thomas trying to fight. 11 seconds the gap. Through the middle of the back straightaway. Through turn 3. 10 seconds is the gap. It's not going to be enough. The 11 has enough. It's Dustin Scruggs with a wild strategy in stage 3 to take the win at the Lady in Black. An unbelievable late race strategy for Dustin Scruggs, and he takes the win, Jordan. What a race!
You know, that's definitely a very, very risky move as he came out successful with it. So a great race win for the 11 of Dustin Scruggs right there, and you can just hear every single second that gap was going lower and lower and lower, so a lot of pressure was on the 11. He had to worry about the cars behind him and his fuel, so a great win once again for the 11 of Dustin Scruggs.
His first race win of the season, and I fully believe right now that he is completely out of fuel. What a win for the 11. His first win of the season to take it home, and an unbelievable finish to this race. We'll grab a look at your Racecraft TV full race results, and what a strategy in stage 3 for Dustin Scruggs. He takes the win for Rhett Tucker Racing. Steven Thomas in second. You see that gap down from about 16.5 seconds to 9.5 in 1 lap. A great run for Steven Thomas. It wasn't enough. Devin Painter, dominant car through the stage number 2. He sits in third for the finish. Chris Cinnamon, Dana Shepard rounding out that top 5, and all the trucks that finished on the lead lap. Raul Meza finishes first 1 lap down. Mata, Jesse Schrage, Michael McKinnon, and Jacob Klinkart in his first series debut finishes in the top 10. Down to 11th, Keith Bradley in the number 18 for Mission 1 Esports. Eric Zimmerman finishes in 12th. Jose Luis Rivera in 13th. Brandon Bullock in 14th. Joey Doucette 15th. Cody Knott 16th. Logan Quinn 17th. Joe Nelson 18th. And Brady LaBeouf rounding out the 19 drivers who took the green flag here tonight. And we enter the post-race show waiting on our winners, Dustin Scruggs, to hop in to our interview waiting area. But as the checkered flag falls in an amazing race, Jordan, I mean, just I'm still in awe over that strategy from Dustin Scruggs, because once Steven Thomas came in and once Devin Painter came in, I think we both thought, okay, this is going to be, they need to pit. Dustin Scruggs just made that fuel tank work all the way to the checkered flag in unbelievable fashion.
You know, definitely, and I'm pretty sure I saw his car cut out on the backstretch of the final lap, so that probably made him so nervous to a point where he thought he wasn't going to make it at all, and so just a crazy finish here in Darlington. It was just one to remember, and a great first win for the 11 of Dustin Scruggs. That's one way to take home that victory and go into victory lane.
And in just an unbelievable way to finish this race, we have your race winner ready to join us here in the booth. and we will bring him up now. Your first place winner, Dustin Scruggs. Dustin, I think the first thing I gotta say is, what a strategy there in stage number 3. Was that the plan when you went green for stage number 3 to try and stretch the fuel tank all the way to the end? Or once that early caution came out in the stage, were you thinking, hey, this might be a possible winning strategy?
Yeah, it was definitely when that caution came out. That's when I kind of realized, well, stage 2, I made it 45 laps and maybe 46. I think if I clutch it a little bit, I could probably stretch it out enough. And I know nobody else on the lead lap pit. So if I just play it smart, save my tires and my fuel, maybe I can make it to the end. And I just barely rolled to the finish line there.
And talk about how much this win means for you. Your first win of the season for you in the 11 machine. Does this give you confidence heading into the remainder of this season and to go try and fight for a championship now?
Well, this is my first win in NASRA ever. I mean, going back to the very beginning of this, before it was NASRA, and I've never won a race, so I'm excited to get my first win. Not sure if I'm going to make it next week, but I'm excited for this one. So.
Well, you made your first win happen on strategy, and it's unfortunately you might not be here for the next round, but going into the future rounds, especially the fuel mileage racetracks, the racetracks that we're going to have these late race fuel strategies, does this give you more confidence heading into those, that you can maybe turn 1 win into 2, 3, maybe 4 by the end of the season?
I mean, absolutely. You get that first one in your belt, you get a little confident, you start driving a little bit more aggressive and making things stick that you probably couldn't do before. But we'll see. I mean, I've never had a pit strategy win before, so I'm glad to finally get a break and not have a caution when I was trying that and let it roll through and make it work. So.
Thank you so much for joining us here in the post-race show in the commentary booth. Dustin, congratulations on your first ever NASRA win here at the virtual Darlington Raceway.
All right. Well, I appreciate it.
Good to hear from our race winner, Dustin Scruggs, in the 11. He grabs the win today, and we're going to grab an interview now with Stephen Thomas in the number 23. Stephen, it was just not enough late race there. You had that speed in that truck. Let's talk about the first 2 stages to start, because we all saw the speed that you had under that race truck. What else did you need there late? Obviously, except for a late race strategy from Dustin Scruggs to grab that win.
I don't know, man. I can't buy one out here. I cannot buy one out here, man. Every time I feel like I've got it locked up, something crazy happens. The first week, the gas situation got me. In Bristol, I was with Keith and felt like I could get him on a long run, and a lap car got me. This race, when Michael hit the wall, I thought for sure it was a wrap, and then gas gets me again. I don't know. I was baffled.
And just throughout the day today, it seemed like tire wear was the main thing. We saw Devin Painter take 2 tires on that stop. What was your strategy?
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, he did. He had a 9.7 seconds in the box. So was that strategy to take 4 tires just what I said, a strategy to hopefully try and get past a handful of other drivers?
I was definitely back and forth about 2 tires all the way down the pit lane. And to be completely honest, I didn't get the left side unclicked fast enough, but I think it was a good call. Obviously, I blew by a Painter pretty quick, so I think the left tires really helped me, because the tires were gone. They were absolutely gone at that point. So yeah, I guess the 4 tires was a pretty good choice.
And we're transitioning from Darlington to Gateway, a very, very different racetrack, of course, than Darlington. Do you think maybe you can get enough luck to grab a win there at Gateway? Because it seems like you've had a good amount of races. You have had the rug kind of swept under you in a couple of these races so far this season.
Just know this, pal. I'll be one of the fastest ones there, like always, okay? So we'll see if I can catch some luck and win one.
We're looking forward to watching it here in the booth. Congratulations on your second place, and thank you for joining us here in the booth.
Thank you, sir.
Good to hear from Stephen Thomas, second place finisher here from Darlington, and we'll talk last but certainly not least with the dominant driver through stage number 2 tonight. It's Devin Painter joining us here in the booth. Glad to have him here with us now. The 64 of Devin Painter. Devin, you had speed in your Ford F-150 tonight, but an alternate strategy from Dustin Scruggs and a 2-tire stop late unfortunately took you out of the running for that win. But talk about your speed. How much confidence does this speed that you've had here give you for the later rounds of this season? Sounds like Devin might be having a little bit of audio issues. We'll wait a moment to see if he can get those figured out. Unfortunately, we cannot hear him here in the commentary box. But like we mentioned, dominant through the middle stages of this race and a great run tonight for the 64 of Devin Painter. Best run of the season so far for the 64 here in third. Devin, you have a copy with us now. Looks like Devin definitely having some issues with his audio. We'll see if we can grab an interview with him next week. For now, we're going to sign off from the post-race show. But, Jordan, we're going to Gateway, going from high banks of Darlington, really chewing out those tires, to a much newer circuit in Gateway and a lot much flatter circuit as well. We're going from one extreme really over to the other. Are you expecting the same drivers to be fast? I mean, now we're seeing Stephen Thomas really solidifying him as a fast truck. We're seeing Chris Cinnamon up front every week. We're seeing now Dustin Scruggs with his first win. Do you think he can kind of keep up for the remainder of this season and keep up his winning ways?
You know, it was definitely a really interesting race here tonight. And like Stephen Thomas said in his interview, he said he was going to be fast, so I want to go with him next week, as he's definitely really, really quick everywhere we go, and I'm looking forward to it.
And we hope to see you next week as well from the virtual Gateway for round number 6 of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. But for now, we are signing off here from the virtual Darlington Raceway. For Jordan Hicks, my name is Joshua Lee. We'd like to give a shout out to Istvan Ballo, TrackCams22.com. Track and car cameras used tonight were created by him. You can head over and grab a camera pack at TrackCams22.com. Once again, it was Jordan Hicks joining me in the booth. My name is Joshua Lee. Thank you for joining us from virtual Darlington. We'll see you in 1 week's time from virtual Gateway for another round of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series.